Time.
Okay, we are now recording.
Oh, recording. Okay.
Hey, look, guys, we're getting to start.
We are recording now.
I'd like to open the meeting of the Buildings, Property, and Cemetery Committee meeting, and it's now 10 minutes after 5. All right, according to the agenda, the first thing on the item is the Lake Country Internet.
As you guys know, the Lake Country has installed their weather antenna on top of the water tank at the industrial park. One of the understandings or the agreements early on was that the town would have I can't say unlimited, but free broadband internet service for the town's buildings. That has not happened. Okay.
Won't, from what I understand.
And it may very well not. Mr. Varner had come in on more than one occasions and indicated in writing that it was impractical cost-wise or beyond what he thought the scope of it would be to get the fiber, which is right at the tower site. I think they quoted him a very high number. That wasn't the deal. It wasn't whether it was practical or not. It was, I'll provide you with wireless broadband service for the town's buildings. After much gnashing of teeth going back and forth, we still don't have his end of the bargain. He's been on the tower probably a month and a half, 2 months. He's been up there. You saw it in the paper, I don't know, a month or so ago. My concern is we have antenna space that's very valuable, and we don't have our end of the deal. And I don't think any agreement, and this is what Tessie had put together, I don't think any agreement should be contingent on I might be able to do it, or if it's cost prohibitive, I'm not going to do it, or any of that kind of stuff. That wasn't the deal.
Immediately, I do think we should put an RFP out, soliciting, because there is another company out there that has confronted me to get their proposals and see what they can offer to the town and see, because we do need something.
We need to do better, and what we were told may or may not happen. He may, in the future, come back and say, oh, I've worked out a deal with Microsoft, and I did talk to a representative of Microsoft who said that they had discussed the matter, but to date, nothing. Crickets.
When he came, I mean, it was real haste. It was in haste, and that's why I said, all right, well, if you can provide us free internet, you know, it's a win-win for the town.
But he hasn't done that.
It's $2,500 a month for the town of Blackstone.
I've discussed it with him, and I think he has agreed that if by the 1st of October he doesn't have it done, then he would remove the antennas. And I think we need to hold him to a date of some sort and just say, listen, we're being very patient, but if you're not going to do it, then we need to terminate any understanding we have you guys. And
I'd be willing to do a date, not just call them up and say, hey, take it off.
Yeah, I told him October would be the date that I would be
So what's the date?
have to look at. October 1st, if that's agreeable with you guys.
Can I have is there any other further discussion for that? We want to, and then we also do an RFP.
If he doesn't pull through, I think we need to do an RFP in that way, which if it wasn't like I said, if it wasn't done in haste earlier, we probably should have done an RFP to begin with.
Well, Tessie brought that up at the end. She said, well, if you're going to tie yourself in a deal, you probably need to have, and if you read this, there's actually a section in here that Blackstone shall submit a request for proposal for internet service.
Yeah.
But Tessie does want y'all to do an RFP before you long-term tie a deal together. Yeah. But because he hadn't done anything, I need to bring it to your attention that the stuff is on the tower. He did that at his expense.
Should we charge a monthly fee until October 1?
Well, the reason he came to you guys and bypassed utility services,
Yeah, because it's high.
he didn't want to pay for space on the tower.
It's not free.
It shouldn't be free, no?
I mean, I think we should charge. I mean, I'm not saying charge ungodly amount, but
Well, Utility Services is a company that manages our water tanks and the space on the water tanks. Yeah, we just had a Verizon agreement. There are going to be some Verizon antennas put up on the tank on Church Street. Huh?
What do they charge?
They take a percentage. I think they take 30% of anything that they put together for the water tanks.
it's a property management.
Property management, and they get a cut out of it, but they can be pretty lucrative. We make about $30,000 a year on antenna rent now. Okay, so it can be fairly lucrative to do that, but I can't get a commitment from the gentleman. He said,
Yeah.
well, if it's cost prohibitive or I can't get it done,
You would like to suggest
I mean, I don't think any 500 is what I had in mind. That
a month until October?
until October.
They normally charge Eric like so much a foot
Yeah,
for a tower.
And it's not
When
cheap.
the antenna
I
goes,
mean-
the taller your tower, the more you can charge.
correct.
So, you know, that's at least, you know, like you said, a couple $100, $200, $300, $500 a
Yeah,
month.
I mean,
Yeah, I think they were a little bit higher with him, with utility services, so I think they're below
yeah.
what our consultant told him he had to pay. And that, the reason he came to y'all, because he didn't want to pay utility services, the figure that they.
Well, when you tell them you're gonna charge, you might come on and take it off.
He ain't gonna take it off because he got a grant through Microsoft to
Oh,
do that,
okay.
and that's why he was under the gun to do it.
And he was under the gun to do it. And, you know, it messed us up a little bit because remember, we were applying for a tobacco commission grant to provide wireless broadband throughout the town. And we thought, wow, this may be a no-cost alternative. Well, we've missed a grant cycle.
When did he put it up there?
I'm gonna think in April.
Should we retro or not?
No, I don't,
Say July 1, this fiscal year?
I'd start July, want to give them a few, give them a little heads. Well, we're gonna have them, when are we gonna take this to the,
Are we gonna take this tonight?
will we take this tonight?
You can,
Yeah, I mean,
if you don't
That way,
mind.
if we're gonna start July 1st, or maybe the council would want to extend that,
yeah.
but just to be fair to,
Well, I think giving
I don't
him
think he,
3 months free on there already is
he had no
Been
idea,
fair.
because it was his understanding that it would be free.
correct. Yeah.
And I didn't want to penalize him for you know, his initial information. But, so, do I have a motion from anybody who would
I
like to?
move that we give Lake Country Satellite Company until October 1 to figure out
To resolve the.
what he needs to do to provide the town with broadband, and in the meantime, that rent on the tower that he currently has his weather station on, starting July 1, be $500 a month.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. So we can take that to the meeting tonight, thank you. Okay, the next item are the street banners, and in your packet, you'll see that there are some packets and information that looks like South Boston is doing in other cities. What is it, South Hill too?
And Colonial Heights was doing it too, and
Colonial
they
Heights and
responded,
Hopewell, so a lot of.
and they
communities-
responded with the same email, so.
Okay, yeah. And the ones that made our banners are also the ones that do the
They're the ones doing it for the other,
Do our Christmas decorations and all that.
photograph, yeah.
And
Which I think $100, that's pretty reasonable for custom printed banners like they are.
he says in the email that, those are about the size that the town ordered from them
So
previously.
can we use
For like
current
the
brackets?
military banners, so, I don't know that, but he sent me that information, he said if the town, that we could get started with that.
What
if
is
we
the
wanted to.
life of these? I mean, this town is doing it from June to Veterans Day, June 30th to Veterans Day. And, you know, that's a substantial amount of time. It's gonna hit weather and that sort of thing, and will they be able to be used again?
if it's any comparison, the American flag ones we purchased, I think in 2012. Because he had the flags. Huh?
It looked great.
And they still don't look bad. I think a couple of them could be laundered. There's a little
Yeah,
mold on a few of them.
couple of them this morning, they still look good.
Physically, I think they're still in good shape. And so those are the cloth ones, though. When we bought the others, they sent us vinyl. And then no one's complained that they aren't the same type of banner. But I think the cloth will last longer than the vinyl.
The ones in Colonial Heights, because I've been up there so much in the last couple of years, have stood the test of time. They look almost as fresh as when they first put them up there. And it is so cool to drive by and know the people whose faces are on there. I finally found my brother-in-law's father's this past weekend. And
So-
he's been up there since the whole time, but,
I think it's be a really good promotion for the people in the community.
So here, South Boston only has 9. Is all they had, Jennifer? Is 9 people?
I don't,
It's 9 banners, so I didn't
no,
know.
I think that came from Moscow, I believe, and he was just showing me.
Okay, is there a minimum?
I think you do need a minimum so we
Philip
don't
said that
buy
he
one or
wanted a
two.
minimum.
Correct, and that's what I was going to say. Does Mosca, will they give the $100 price if you have 10? Check on that and see.
Yeah, he gave me the price, and he said when we had, because I told him that we wanted to have enough to go through the downtown, or not just have like a handful of them, you know.
And $100, and even if it's $120 with a bracket or whatever, I think that's reasonable enough for people to purchase. I was thinking it was gonna be several hundred, to be honest. Being custom with a picture and everything, I thought it was gonna be a lot more.
You making a
So we
motion?
need to know what the minimum is, we'll need to find that out.
Okay.
And then we can, I like the idea, I think it.
Well, I'd say in the meantime, well, we need to get a minimum price and see. I don't wanna wait too long though, because
How do you go about asking the community?
we put it on our Facebook, we,
That's what I was gonna ask you, how are you gonna promote this, and do you gonna like set the number per block and try to sell them, get maybe
we,
Rotary?
we
or
said we
somebody
wanted at
else,
least
or-
20, I think.
Yeah.
My concern would be, you know, certain families gonna want their banner in a certain spot, you know, all those kind of things. So we're gonna have to work our way through that and come up with some ground rules and say, hey, you know,
Do a drawing.
I was about to say, yeah, it's not, you don't pick and choose a spot.
yeah,
Because if you only have 20 people, you're gonna have to space them to a certain, now if you have 40, okay, yeah, you can, but now you won't be able to select a location, I would
Do
think.
you want me to check with Colonial Heights, how they designed how they set theirs up?
Sure, get the information, that'd be helpful for us, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just see what it is, because
And then,
see what the minimum would be. And they may tell you that there is no minimum.
and then we wanna be able to do this before, when do we wanna have these, if we get the okay to do this, would we wanna do it for this year?
I think it's, well, I guess we gotta see how much participation we get.
Yeah.
the lead time wasn't terribly long.
3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say go ahead and, as soon as we can hear back, and that's why I don't want to, because our next meeting after tonight is when?
July 15th.
July what?
15.
Okay.
That's not 3 weeks.
You wanna shoot for having them for Veterans Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah, have it up for the month of November, and then we can have it maybe,
We'll switch it Thanksgiving for the Christmas stuff because we have
right,
the
Open
grand
house.
illumination and
okay,
all that.
yeah, yeah, November until Thanksgiving, and then next year we can do a long period of time.
Could you do a flyer and put it in the light bill and send it out to everybody? That way everybody in town would have a flyer, they could almost fill it out if you're interested in it.
They've got a
An
form,
idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
Since you got this light bill and this envelope thing, if you can just,
I've gotta figure out how
Yeah, they've
we
got
get
a
them to
form.
stuff it
well, I
in
know
there.
that, but
I'm
I'm
not
just
sure how to
thinking
work.
this might be an ideal way. I know what you're saying, we used to do it for fire department stuff in envelopes, I know.
But we have a private company that actually does it, you know?
And they charge you more for each thing they add, I bet.
I just gotta find out. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
more or what the
I'm
arrangements
just
are.
thinking that's a really great way for every family to help them.
Or if it affects the postage, I gotta just.
I love our local paper to death, but I get better results advertised on Facebook for jobs, so I know there's gotta be a better way than just putting it in the paper to get the word out. I'm just, so people know about it.
Well, even if we put just a little blurb on the light bill without that extra flyer, if you're interested, they can seek
But
it out.
if we do 8.5 by 11, you can put it in with the bill and it folds it and puts it in
Okay.
on the.
Something you fill out.
Will it go in there?
Your
Is there any
name.
problem? You can add it.
All right.
And it shouldn't cost you a penny more. I mean,
I don't wanna say we can and then find out it's a hassle to do it,
That'd
but
be
if
good.
it's possible,
So we can get all that information. Do we just bring it up at the, put it on the
July.
agenda with additional information that you
If you
find?
drop it off at the light bill, for example, if you're interested in somebody can have to call them back and give the details, you know,
We do
like,
that.
I'm interested, check block, or I want this kind of thing.
So do you, so we'll wait and bring this, not tonight, but at the July 15th, once we have more
Yeah.
information and stuff, okay?
Let's figure out the minimum.
Okay,
Okay.
very good. Anything else on street banners we need to talk about? We'll move on to the next one, is the armored repairs. And, I have a folder, Walter Mack just gave me a folder with photos of the before and afters of what they've done so far. Just beautiful. I'll pass that down to you.
So did you say you're getting Verizon tower work done at that?
Verizon's gonna put antennas on our water tank on Church Street.
That could be very helpful for like 60% of the cell phone users in town.
It's nice.
Well, no, we need that, we all do.
Looks very nice.
You know, cell phones working.
Gotta take a
Here,
tour.
we don't have cell phones in
You
here.
know? But yeah, there's gonna be some Verizon antennas put on. They're doing the environmental stuff right now.
Have you
agreement
seen
is-
it there?
I think I've seen it
That's
on
good,
my
that's
phone,
all,
but I'll look at
that's
it.
good for business.
The agreement is done. I mean, it's all agreed to.
Okay.
Well, that's where we are as of, well, we put down some mold and some other stuff last night. I just wanted to share those pictures. I knew I just want to give you something you can hold in your hand and talk about instead of talking about what you saw on Facebook.
Did you keep that old toilet paper and use it?
Actually, we have that old toilet paper, and we did keep that old toilet
Some
paper
old
somewhere.
stuff.
That stuff looked like it came over Mayflower. We would have had the bathroom petitions, we probably put them up this week, but.
That probably didn't
they're
even
about a
work
week
anymore,
or
that
10 days
toilet
late
tissue.
making them. They're supposed to be here Monday or Tuesday, and they're gonna be a day or two putting those in, Mark told me last night. But we're about a week and a half, 2 weeks probably for finishing. A little, it's like anything you do in a house, a little details just take forever to do. A hole here but we're gonna try to give you turnkey, fully operational bathrooms, including trash cans and paper towel holders and extra toilet paper holders. That we fully, we're not just painting the bathroom, because we just couldn't do that.
Okay.
When will they be available to,
Yes. 100% already talked to you.
You will use them this weekend, aren't you?
Well, I was gonna try to have it ready for this weekend, but we don't have the petition.
If you don't have a petition.
So I'd have to put a person outside, like a hand towels, keep them and come in on.
Yeah.
So it'd be next, probably in 2 weeks.
Buy some poncho.
Yeah, that would work well too. I put on Facebook and we were just amazed. I can't believe how good it looks. When I done with that Bill Quigg, but Mackley ever piece of blue carpet himself in his back is out. But, other than that, Bill's been very good about this. He's got a lot of resources and people have helped, and, we're pretty close to getting finished. And I sent everybody a letter a couple of days ago asking if maybe y'all can come over next month.
How much in the foyer and that long hallway and the 2 bathrooms, how much money has been, I'm not asking town money, but what did it cost to do that?
I don't have an exact number, Eric, but I know last month our Devil's bill was about $700, and the month before was about $300. I'm guessing we're gonna have about, I should have estimated about $3,500 in material in the whole thing, maybe. I
And is
gotta go back and
that
look
doesn't
at the
include
bill.
those stuff that you got, like the carpet, that came from U of R, correct?
Yeah.
That
Well, that
doesn't
came from Bill Quick. It's not U of R. U of R didn't give us.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean, yeah.
No, that stuff we actually had bought.
Okay,
And see, the bathroom petitions are gonna be about $3,800 a load.
yeah.
But they're really nice, and that's what those bathrooms deserve. You can't put junk in. You see what the other ones look like in those pictures. They were just unsalvageable. Joshua wanted to sandblast them and save them. You just can't save, metal, 30, 40-year-old metal petitions out of a men's room. You just can't do it. They're just nasty. So, we're gonna put those in next week. That's kind of the most expensive thing of the whole deal. But somebody told me last week that Jimmy Hudson charged the town $30,000 to redo the bathrooms at Memorial Center many years ago. And if that's correct, and I know Philip gave me a price of 10 to get water going a couple of years ago, so we're pretty close to about a $30,000 worth of work at county finished, we think, just in kind and everything else. And somebody said, why did you do it? Because it needs to be done. So,
If you'll notice in front of you on some, the carpet samples, this is what was put in the hallway.
we're going to
That's
continue
good.
down the
That's
hallway to
pretty.
escape room and stop, is what we're going to do. And we told the chamber that we would try to get the room beside the bathroom painted. It's one we've been using, what we call the clubhouse boardroom. But you might be able to place for an artist to set up the arts and crafts, a private room, and it's already got a ceiling in it, just needs a new tile. And we want to get this done first and get finished. It's too dusty and dirty. We're trying to get the building cleaned back up. Now, we mopped last night for 2 hours. So they blame me for that, but overspent.
We have to, there was, the town council voted to have, that the town, if we needed to use electricians or plumbers or that sort of thing, that we provide the labor, but that the parts or any material would be part of, that the armory group would cover. But there's some, little things like the clips and that sort of thing. I believe there is some funds available, a small amount of money available. Philip, can you address that, please?
Back when the Save Our Armory Group did their fundraiser, I don't know exactly how much money was dedicated directly to you, but there was $13,997.70, and that may include some interest because we had it segregated in a separate account for a
Brick and
while.
mortar repairs or something. is what
Yeah.
we figured.
10,000 of that was an anonymous donation given to us
For bathroom. or
for
something.
specific to construct, if the town proceeds with renovating the armory. If not, they say send it back, if you guys remember that 4 or 5 years ago. The difference, $3,997.70, is donations that were dedicated to the town. So when we I don't know, we cut you a check or whatever we did, but the stuff that was dedicated directly to them, they've been working with, and there was almost $4,000 worth of donations that were made out to the town of Blackstone. We still have those.
I would recommend that those invoices that we've got from Walter Mack, that we use that money to cover that. And I guess we need to take, if that's agreeable, if you all have a motion and vote on it, and then take that to council. We can take that tonight, so those outstanding amounts can come.
It's the less controversial way to go, and since we have it, use it. So,
And it was donated for the Army,
yep.
without strings. 10,000 did have a string attached to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I make a motion that we use that money to take care of the expenses.
It's designated for the Armory, so I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, that would be for things that are, that the town labor does.
For the building, correct.
For the bill.
Just for the Armory,
For,
not
for
anything else.
labor or for material?
No, material.
Material.
For if the town does any work. Okay. And we,
Hopefully won't have to ask you for this. I'd rather not ask y'all so you don't have to go through this, okay? I won't say I
But
asked you.
this should alleviate
Okay.
any future
But
work.
Philippines is a little bit elbow room, and I appreciate the help.
we did get a $100 check in today, another donation from a lady, so.
Really?
Okay.
She sent 2 checks, one for the
We got
animal
$100.
shelter and one for the armory, so.
We got a $100 cash donation here 3 months ago, when Tom had a talk with somebody here one night, and woman stood up and handed Tom $100 to give to us. So, it's been interesting, but,
What'd you put in the foyer? Did you still use that vinyl stuff or something? You put
we're going
something?
to put vinyl right in the very front. Like I said, I'd like for y'all to come over next month, maybe y'all get your head together, we really would like, you can't keep talking about all you want to look at pictures.
Had to see
You've been
it.
over there,
Looks nice.
and you've been there for a few minutes, and when you were cutting grass, but, I feel like this old house, I didn't realize how we were that good. We were that good, it just, it looks better than I thought it would look, and I mentioned in the email, BWF called me, we'll do wrestling in August.
Yeah.
It's not for kids, and we use arts and crafts, I'd like maybe look at that. I told them I would have to talk to you about maybe, I want y'all to come look at it first, so y'all can judge, okay? So,
People want to use it.
Well,
And
they
there,
like
I mean,
it.
obviously there's not gonna be any AC in there.
well, they know that BWF don't worry about that anyway, it's
Yeah.
just wrestling. I mean, you have the BWF.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a Cadillac operation, you know, it's a, you know, it is what it is.
Well, may I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Will it be will it be able to use it for basketball purpose?
Barbara, we cannot use it for basketball. I've been told till we get rid, according to Mr. Miller and other people, till we get rid of the lead abatement on the walls.
In the main gym.
Okay.
Now, the people at the state of Virginia, I talked to a gentleman at, I think it's called Brownfields. I've addressed, I think, twice with an email to council about that. He told me that there was some planning money available that we could use for paint removal and actually do it. And the grant was available. And the group here, our group is willing to co-op and spend to look at this and see how much it costs, and if our money will cover it, we'll put the money up with the grant to get it done. But we saw the building down at Hampton, and they used this dustless blaster, Philip, you see sometime on Sunday, they do cars with it, instead of a sand blaster, it's got water. And he put plastic down in Hampton, and brought the air monitor in, and he rented his own equipment, and it basically blasted and landed right on the floor, because there was no runoff, and then the lead abatement guy came in, rolled it up and took it out, and they have nice brick walls, and you never have to paint it again. What we were gonna do was scrape and paint. But if
Encapsulated.
you scrape and paint, encapsulate it, you're always dealing with a white or paint, and no one wants maintenance down the road. Everybody talks about how pretty the brick is inside the armory. So it'll cost about the same thing. In fact, it may not cost us anything. But no matter what we do with the building, we gotta get rid of the lead, whoever owns it, and it's worth more without the lead to whoever has it. And I can call that guy again and talk to him, maybe get y'all involved in it, but it's a state's called Brownfields.
And Mac, that, what you just said, and that's how you're gonna have to sell it to the community, because at the point, we're still in limbo as to whether the town keeps it or not. And so if you sell it to, like you just said, that whether the town keeps the building or not, it has to be done.
It has to be done, and.
If you sell it like that, you don't scare people.
Well, see, Louis Danito has an abater that works for him, and he did all the officers club at Pickett. It had the exact same issue, and it was taken care of. So, I mean, every corporation has a lead abater. They just do because of the on what you're dealing with, and if you've got a guy that works for you, all you do is send him to school, and that way you don't have to pay the abatement company.
The company.
But, you know, but we've got that company, that Bill works with, we've got them set aside for 3 days, that they said they would work for us. But that's for scraping paint, and we'd rather save it if they can come in, set up monitoring for us free, and then we could get somebody to come in and blast it all off and pick it back up. You know, it's been nice having a 501 because you can ask people for help and get help and not have to always pay full price for it as long as you get it done correctly. You know, that's the neat thing, but it's something we can look at. I like to look at because we've got the front done now and we can use for arts and crafts, but for kids and everyday use, we really got to get rid of the lead paint. And that's even above or beyond, or different than the tobacco grant I asked about. The tobacco grant would cover the roof and the windows, because that's what we have to do to get it
Weathered in.
get it weathered in, and then you can do it in steps according to our architect, so it can be done in like 3 steps, roof, windows, heating, and then the inside, and do it like that. So it's whatever y'all want to do. But that's where we're at. Thank y'all for your support. I just
Thank
wanna
you.
Thank you for all you
You're not
do.
addicting us so far. Okay? You're good.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And I do need to know what color paint the front door. It's about to drive me crazy. I have looked at that building, I have scratched my head, I have bought paint like crazy, but I can't figure out what color paint the front door.
I thought it was already colored.
But don't put it on Facebook.
It's a-
You just want to just give up on
It's
that.
just
I have
a
black one.
tan
See what you come up
sandstone.
with.
Yellow. I like this color,
But
yellow.
right now,
That's
it's gray
pretty.
brown,
That
what
is
it
pretty.
is right now. So we do need to come with a Blackstone door color, but anyway, I would like the committee maybe think
Okay.
about that. It's y'all's building, so it'd be an honor to paint it the color you'd like to have it painted.
All righty, thank you very
Hot
much.
pink.
Hot pink,
Well, didn't the town used to be named Black and White?
yes ma'am.
Oh,
What we thought about it, when we did, my daddy used to always say pink with purple polka dots, that was always his saying, so, we could do, white with, black polka dots, something like that.
You come up with something that's attractive.
Was there-
I
I
catch it.
mentioned calling it, I had somebody last week said you should call it Swartz Hair Center, and that actually calls it kind of, relates back to black and white in sort of a way, so it's interesting, so.
Was there anything more on the armory that we need to talk about tonight?
Just very briefly, I will report to you that I've met with Davenport and Company, who is our designated financial advisor, about this RFP for a business plan, financial services, and that sort of thing. They were disinterested in doing the business plan part of it. They, man, we'll put together your finance package for you and advise you on tax increases or whatever is necessary to service the debt. He said, but that's really not in our wheelhouse. I met with Sharon McGuire from Longwood Small Business Development Center, and we had a discussion, and she is happy to provide support, but she did not want to take it on as a project. We had a conference call, Jennifer and I, with VML Vaco, which is, if you remember, we invested with them like $1 million. Not a CD, but an investment through the local government investment tools that they have. And we spoke with Bob Lauterberg. I think he is agreeable and interested in doing it. Okay, and I think he would be as third party as you can find without spending a bunch of money on it. I'd like to forego the RFP process. I have met with 3 different individuals. We're already clients of theirs, so I think they're going to be looking out for the town's interest in it.
The business model, I mean,
It's
when I say that, I'm
primarily
looking
done.
mainly for how much will it run, which we know rough about what it'll do, but what's out there to fund it, and mainly what is it going to be on the town's tax-paying burden. So we need to know, that's mainly what we need to know is what's the dollar figure.
Get that. I did meet with Christine and Tom one day last week in the office, and we discussed just such topics. There are a couple different prices that are floating around out there.
Yeah.
Okay. The first of which was done in the 90s, I think, when there was an asbestos in a study, and B&B did a rudimentary. Those numbers are no good anymore, obviously, but it does tell you how much asbestos and stuff that needs to be done.
This thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bound report. The second report, if you remember, Zach's outfit received some grant money from DHCD and did a community planning partners. That is basically a business plan.
Actually, we funded that, the armory did, we paid.
Y'all paid for that?
We paid for that,
Okay.
and it is a business plan in that.
It is a business
The
plan. in
DHCD will accept, I believe, right?
there. I think we're gonna confirm those numbers,
Here.
and, but I think the basis is there. I don't think you need to recreate the wheel.
Correct, and that, Mac, and I wasn't
Oh, no.
down in what y'all have, but we need to make sure
Oh, no.
from both sides that it needs to be a third party. And granted, that is third
I
party,
agree.
but
Brian
make-
Green, and you know Brian, because
Oh,
he
yeah.
came in tonight, Brian did the study that he's talking about, but he also did the final one that we also gave y'all, and we're only going with one guy's word, so obviously somebody, I don't want y'all ever to say I'm right, because I want
No, no,
y'all to check.
But the
you know.
difference is, the study that was done, B&B did theirs, and then, I don't know, 2016 or whenever it was, there was a second report prepared, has basically a business model, you know, this is what it's gonna cost to operate, and this is the grants we think you can get, and all that kind of stuff. That was a $3.4 million project. The most recent documents that Mac had given me is $2.7 million. So we met and tried to figure out, all right, what number are we using here? Because we're gonna have to build our debt service and our costs and all that. And Tom Wilkinson's recommendation, and Christine was with us, was the $2.7 million, which is still, you know, a sizable project.
Yeah.
There are some different options that they had in there concerning recreation and learning center and all those kinds of things. My personal opinion is I'm not as pessimistic about the recreation side of things in the building, not drawing attention from the state. I think the state will take some attention in it as part of a LMI effort with the second phase of East End, okay? That's what we've been planning, that's what we've been expecting to do, and that's where we're gonna need the council to decide which way we're going. But even in the best of circumstances, I believe if we don't use tax credits, I think a $750,000 grant is reasonable, okay? Because remember, we were eligible for $1.25 million, okay? If we applied for that same type of grant again, remember, we put more in the armory, but we've got to do the housing first. And we're putting $1 million in the first phase of the housing, or $900,000 in the first phase of housing. So I don't think $750,000 is unreasonable. I think that either IRF or DHCD's block grant project, there could be others, but I think that I would be comfortable telling you that I think that could garner that amount. That still leaves $2 million at that lower price. And
But then, what about the grant that we got from, the information from Walter
you can
Mountain?
apply for it.
Brownfield.
Yeah, that was.
Well, then you
Also
say-
got tobacco grant too, tobacco commission.
But that's gonna be up to the county, and I'm probably more bullish on that, simply because I've been around long enough, but I think that DHCD is probably your best shot for cash.
Sherman told me last week he would like to help us, you know, and he's continued to tell me that he supported the armory and he wanted to get the armory done.
He
And he's
can
told me that, and Noel has told me that, and Steve has told me that, and Gary Simmons has told me
certainly
that.
apply.
So I can help and go to any meetings just because that way they can look me in the face too and say no, you know, I don't mind doing that. And also DHCD offered me $180,000 2 years ago of administration money because they wanted to help the armory so much. And the town wasn't ready to move on
I
it.
think DHCD is where the funds are gonna come from.
Yeah, and then they said they wanted to help, and, you know, they've been in the building half a dozen times with us, so, you know.
I still think you're probably, without tobacco money or any other unknown source, I still think you're looking at servicing the debt on a couple $1 million or
Just say,
Deal
say,
with them, man.
say you take Brownfield and add that to that, then you got 1.5 million. So, because the
Brownfield a $500,000 grant. I don't know.
600.
No, Brownfield's like 50,000.
50,000,
I
okay.
mean, that's just enough to get rid of it. All you're doing is getting rid of
Abatement.
The lead,
the lid
yeah.
on the inside.
There's all sorts of things. There's underground storage tank program through Meade Anderson and DEQ to get the underground tanks out of the ground. There's all kinds of little things out there. I think we can get the tanks taken up. I think there are monies to abate the asbestos and all that sort of thing, but I still think you're looking at trying to figure out $2 million.
Mr. Green said he would be more than glad to help anything on this, at least as a consultant, you know, so you don't have to pay somebody to look at numbers and at least give you another set of numbers anytime you need it, okay? So, you know, our guy's ready to help. Or your guy, he's our guy. Okay.
Each penny on the tax rate brings you, what, $17,000? So it's gonna take a bunch of pennies to service that. If you just look at $1 million on a 20-year amortization, you gotta come up with principal of $50,000 a year, not including interest. So it's still a sizable amount of money that the town will come up with. Can it be done? It can be done. Personally, do I think it could be done with the resources that we currently have? I do not. I think it'll be the equivalent of a bus shop, medical center, fire station, police station all at one time. And I think we've got to plan through it and make sure that we earmark revenues for it.
let's get the VML Baco, get them to do their numbers.
What's the time frame on getting those numbers from them?
Told them Labor Day we want that back. Labor Day.
So we'll miss the July
Yeah,
grant
you won't have it in
process.
July, maybe at the August meeting, but I told them, we gotta wrap this thing up by the end of this summer.
As long as the ball's been rolling.
It is
then we're
rolling.
fine. I mean,
It is bouncing.
Well, the one that, the
I don't,
grant,
I don't want them to just throw numbers out there and not be
Yeah,
accurate.
they're gonna be right. They wanna lend you the money, too. They have cause that's what they do also, not only investment, but they also lend money. They're the same group that we borrowed the money from medical center from.
Yeah.
And, so,
and so there's no way that we could get the paperwork together for that July 25th.
I'll call him. He asked me the other day, when do you need this? And I said, I'd like to have it no later than Labor Day. But if we want to accelerate it by a month and a half, I can ask him if we can have it ready.
Committee members?
That's an update where we're at. I'll talk to him. I'd be happy to.
I know I was giving Senator Ruff a very large tax check in my office, but he did have a nice smile most time I was talking to him about this homework, and he is on the board, so that's all I can say.
What's the July 25th?
There was a grant application
Oh, okay.
that was due then.
Sorry.
And that was for the grant for the tobacco? No.
That's the back grant, that was sent directly to me, I've been on their mailing list for a few years.
Okay.
And, they know about us, and, what we kept hearing was there was lots of allotment left over in Nottaway County every year, Nottaway wasn't using their allotment. But we don't know how that is, I haven't checked on it last year or so.
But with the tobacco grant, we use them, that's the agreement where we have to go to Nottaway County.
Correct. I'm on the I'm the representative, the mayor myself for EDC, which we initially get the request and then it goes to the board and we haven't gotten anything in a while.
The only thing that the town has received recently is $180,000 for upgrades at the wastewater plant.
Wastewater.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
So I think that does need to come off whatever figure that they have now.
Yeah.
I know y'all be tired of me talking, just Mac's personal opinion, Nottaway County draws 10,000 people a year from your community to pick it. They ought to step up and try to help you with your own economic development and help you with this. You know, that's one reason I thought that 10,000 up there. They're not here, they're right there. You know, and they shouldn't have to go right there.
Anything else?
I'm good.
That's good.
Yep.
Okay, so what we'll bring up at 6 o'clock, after the other agenda items, is the, October 1st deadline, the $500 a month rent, starting July 1st. And nothing else to report on anything else, is that correct? Y'all in agreement with that? Okay.
Okay. Any other further business? Want your motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we will adjourn at 5:47. And you need a gavel?